Tū ana te kārearea I te keo ngā o tarapo nui a kawhea ka titiro iho ia ki titi aho kura ki te wāhi ko tau whare papau mai. I titia e tō tūpai toko I mau ai te mauri o te manu haruru ana te maungara. Hui!
So the marae for me, it holds a huge amount of significance within myself.
The marae is my home. It's a home of all our hapu, all our people, our whānau. It is the hub of everything that we do.
It's a repository of awesome memories.
It's a place where my whānau and the wider hapu have gathered for joyous occasions, also for sad occasions like tangi, where we've come together to support each other.
It is a true wāhi-taonga of the hapu.
It connects all of us to our ancestors and who we are, from whence we came, and that is our ukaipo.
For me, it doesn't matter where the marae stands. The mauri of the marae is in its people.
Our hapu asked that a committee be established to investigate options to relocate Tāngoio Marae or protect and develop it at the current location. It's time to share the process and results of that investigation.
Now that after settlement we have an opportunity to change things or to shift things possibly to the way that we want them to be. That's the importance of this committee, is to make sure that we've addressed everything to the best of our capabilities for the benefit of our whānau, our hapu and our iwi.
Our total population of registered members is 5,927. Some live overseas, but most live in Aotearoa.
But I think there's a lot more. With just one of our whānau alone, they could fill up this all by themselves.
Tamariki and rangatahi make up almost 2/3 of our population.
So those are the people that we need to be accommodating for in this new marae. That is the mere facts of what we have to plan for.
By 2026, it's expected that our hapu will grow to over 9,000 members. Currently, about 10% of our hapu lives overseas, mostly in Australia.
Our whānau overseas in Australia and other parts of the world, it's really, if not more important, for you whānau to stay involved with the things that are happening on the marae. The marae is the mauri of the people, and it's the place where we can all gather together as one and truly autonomously be Māori.
I was raised by my grandparents right over there. I was one of the fortunate ones. There were a number of us here in the valley. Fortunate that we were able to see and hear our great-grandparents. There'd be close to, I'd say, close to 25, 28 homes.
In the past, Tāngoio Marae was the centre point of hapu life. The hapu lived around the marae and observed the tikanga of the hapu. The marae provided a place of gathering and identity. The marae was at the heart of the community. Whānau looked after whānau there. It was once a place that was used for everyday activities, from birth through to death. It was the base of our people.
And the life was awesome here as a child. I have to say the change for me was quite glaring in 1963. They had a bad flood in 63. And then gradually the numbers out in the valley living dwindled quite significantly. The shock for me was coming home in about 1981 or 82, where there were virtually say 4 or 5 families living in the valley. The rest were either they were urbanised.
There have been 4 major floods in the last 100 years and numerous other floods.
My mother has told me of occasions when she was a young girl living at the marae, and of the fear and the terror of rising floodwaters swirling around their house.
About 1985, Sunday morning, I get called out here to Tangoio by my father. He says, quote, "Come and get your daughter," which was my youngest, she was about 5, "and your niece, same age." There's a lot of water flowing through the valley. And I had to pull myself up onto the marae fencing, which divided the marae and the homestead, and look to a screaming daughter and niece at the kitchen window screaming to me to come and fetch them. I couldn't fetch them because of the flow of water that went through between me and they. Now, those ones were quite frequent.
In fact, just recently, as March this year, we had some flooding here at the marae, and as usual, it was flash flooding. So it came in the morning and it was gone by the late afternoon. But it comes really fast, and this flood was a bit unusual in that the centre of the flood was over the Esk Valley. The tail of it was just over the Tangoil Valley. So we didn't get the full force of it. But we had whānau record footage showing the waters coming off the hill.
Lately, we've seen videos of that, some of the damage that's happened, the risk of silt build-up down there and the weakening of structures, and what man is doing to our world today has changed our weather and everything, and it's impacted the whole world.
Our Earth is getting warmer, causing change to the prevailing weather conditions. Climate change will cause more extreme weather and more floods. We need to think about how that could impact on our marae. Our hapu asked that a committee be established to investigate options to relocate Tangoio marae or protect and develop it at the current location. The Marae Options Committee, made up of representatives of our hapu, have explored options to future-proof our marae from floods.
We've had a diverse range of opinions in the committee. We've got a diverse range of people on the committee, from kaumātua to rangatahi.
We have our kawhi kaumātua, queer, koanga representatives, whānau representatives, myself and Joe Tāwhai as rangatahi representatives.
And this has meant that we've had some well-informed, heated testing debates where people have represented very different views. This has been quite stressful for the committee at times, but it's been a good process because I feel that people have been able to voice their concerns or their issues or even their preferences.
The Marae Options Committee has worked hard to obtain the best information available at the time.
And the work that we're doing is to collect and collate information that's been given to us from the experts.
And so that's probably the hardest job, is actually considering and staying open. It's only easy for me to close my mind off and just to think about what I want. But we're in a unique position where what we do is huge for the future of the whole hapu.
One of the most important things about this whole process for me has been getting to a point where myself and others can be comfortable that we've left no stone unturned. This is really critical for us, our kaumātua, but particularly for the ones that follow us, my children, their children and their children's children.
We asked whānau what we need to consider in weighing up the options for our marae, both for finding a new site or for staying at the current location. The Marae Options Committee came up with some criteria, and feedback was given by whānau at Huia Hapu. The final criteria were hononga, connection to place. Ngā pānga ki te taiao, environmental impact, papakainga and whakawhanaketanga, village and developmental potential. Ratonga, pahaki, access to services. Rerehua, appeal. Tatanga taiao, access to natural resources, wāhi haumaru, safety and resilience with regard to natural hazards and other hazards. The project included assessment of over 70 off-site options. The criteria for off-site options were determined by the Marae Options Committee and outlined to whānau at Huia Hapu for feedback. The criteria were that the site must be within our takiwa and not more than 40 minutes drive from Napier. The site had to have at least 0.8 hectares of land that could be built upon, and the site could not be exposed to the risks of flooding or coastal inundation. A geotechnical engineer carried out a desktop analysis and identified 74 sites that fit the size criteria. Of those, 22 were in our takiwa, within 40 minutes drive of Napier, and had no obvious flood or tsunami risk. Some sites were eliminated due to flood risk identified by another engineer. 13 sites were discounted due to access issues, small size, high level of earthworks required, and railway tracks. There were 3 suitable properties remaining. Landowners of the 3 properties were approached but weren't willing to enter into an option to purchase agreement. That is, they weren't willing to sell if the hapu were to choose their property as the future marae site. On-site options were also explored to protect our marae from flooding at the current location. The Marae Options Committee considered all the suggestions from whānau. Professional advice was also sought from engineers. 4 options were given detailed consideration. The first option was to build a long stop bank to protect as much land as possible for the marae and papakainga on adjoining land. Unfortunately, this option was not viable. Floodwaters not only come from our awa, but also runoff from the hills opposite the marae. Engineers explained that this runoff from the hills would be trapped on the inside of the long stop bank, and therefore advised against a long stop bank. Next, the Marae Options Committee looked at the possibility of raising land to protect it from flooding. The option would include relocating the marae buildings off-site while the land is built up, building a new wharekai, reinstating the marae buildings and associated utilities and landscaping. The high-level estimated cost for this whole option was approximately $10.8 million. Our quantity surveyor also estimated costs for a reduced option based on raising the land level across half of the current site, including the back car park, marae buildings and marae ātea. The cost would still be very high at approximately $8.2 million. The Marae Options Committee considers that neither of these options are feasible due to the very high cost. The remaining option is to rebuild the existing western stop bank. The existing stop bank was built in 1988 using the silt that was deposited near the marae during Cyclone Bowler. It's situated to the west of the marae along the edge of the back car park. To improve the western stop bank, the engineers recommend excavating the western stop bank and replacing it with high quality fill. We would need to increase the height so that it's approximately half a metre higher than State Highway 2. We would widen the stop bank and extend it so that it joins up to the State Highway. The Marae Options Committee has carefully considered all of the options for our marae. The investigation has resulted in only one feasible option: rebuilding the existing western stop bank on the current marae site at Tangoil. We also propose that funds be spent on the following: building a new wharekai, improving site drainage to deal with nuisance flooding, and repairing and upgrading existing buildings. The committee would also like to reserve some funds for a Plan B and insurance, in case the marae becomes uninsurable. Plan B means that the marae would stay at the current site until something happens to require it to move. For example, if the stop bank fails, resulting in significant damage to the marae, or if climate change causes flooding to become much worse than anticipated. Our quantity surveyor has estimated the high-level cost of this option to be approximately $4.5 million. This doesn't include the reserve fund to cover insurance or Plan B. We'll need to apply for external funding to meet the costs of this option. Discussions with the marae trustees have resulted in a plan to establish a new committee for the implementation phase of the project. That is, a committee to oversee the building and development of the marae. The committee will have representatives from the key groups in our hapu. A new project manager will be contracted to work with the committee and to manage the building and development of the marae. The plan will be arranged so that work can begin as soon as possible. It is the desire of our hapu that our marae be a proud, vibrant and modern marae. Kia tū Māori te marae.
Well, I think naturally our people are very vibrant. I love that because it's full of energy.
To build a marae where all members of the hapu are proud to affiliate themselves to.
A modern marae is about getting those basics right for me. It's about being warm, having good infrastructure so that we're safe and we can host our whānau and visitors.
Because we are a progressive whānau, we are a progressive hapu, and our marae should be a reflection of that, of who we are.
You can let us know your feedback on the proposal by attending the Huia Hapu or via email, Facebook or letter. You can find out more details in the information booklet and on our website.